Morning, family and friends, and what a beautiful morning it is in Melbourne. Decided to wake up early, go for a walk around the park, came back home, and decided to cook this fantastic egg burji and chorizo recipe. Now, firstly, in a pan, heat some oil on a medium flame. When the oil starts to bubble, put the onions and chilies in and allow this to fry for a few minutes till the onions get brown. During the stage of the onions getting brown, you can get that lovely aroma of the chili seeds being infused through the onions. And this is so appetizing and smells so fantastic. Keep stirring the onions for about another half minute and then get ready to add the diced chorizo. Slowly add the diced chorizo into the oil along with the onions and chilies, and then give this a good stir, and then watch how the oil from the chorizo, from the fat of the chorizo, starts to mingle with the onions and the chilies. And now you can get that fantastic aroma. After a minute or two, then add the 2 teaspoons of Keen's curry powder. I like to use Keen's curry powder because it has a certain Western flavor to it, which gives this combination of the chorizo, the onions and chilies a very, very different flavor and a very different taste. Keep stirring this so that the chorizo and the onions do not get stuck to the bottom of the pan. And there you can see the fat and the oil are starting to separate. And oh, my taste buds are getting more and more aroused as we are now midway through the stage of this recipe. And now I'm going to add these beautiful homegrown cherry tomatoes. They have a lovely sweetness and a bit of sourness to it. And this combination of sweet, sour, fat is making this breakfast most magnificent on this beautiful Melbourne Saturday morning. Now keep stirring the tomatoes along with the chorizo, the onions and the chili, and be mindful of the smell, the aroma, and look at the different colors that are presenting once all these different ingredients are getting fused. And let us just remain in silence and hear the swoosh of all these beautiful ingredients cooking in a pan. We're now going to add the 4 eggs into the pan. Gently let the eggs mingle into the chorizo, the tomatoes, the onions. And we're going to give this now a stir because we don't want the eggs to fry, but rather we want the eggs to break up. And that's the burji part, or the scrambling part of the eggs that we are going to do now. You can add a little salt at this point in time, or you can choose to add salt later depending on your preference, or if the chorizo is salty enough for you, you could avoid salt altogether. Keep stirring the eggs so that the eggs do not get caught to the bottom of the pan and they then start to dry up. At this point in time, I add a little bit of milk so that the eggs curdle a little more and it gives it a certain fluffiness once this mixture and the liquid starts to dry up. Now, the last stage, I add my 5 strands of coriander that have been chopped and diced finely into the mix, and then we continue to stir this to the point where the juices all start to dry up, but they don't disappear because the juices get infused into the eggs, into the tomatoes, into the chorizos, and now we are reaching the final point where this magnificent egg burji and chorizo dish can be consumed by myself for breakfast. Thank you for watching this presentation and look forward to seeing you again in my next presentation, which is not too far away. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Anglo-Indian Gupchup channel.